Good morning, everyone. Sanbonani. Welcome to Cancer Talking Room, where we talk about all the issues regarding and related to cancer. So please support us by subscribing and liking the videos. And please let's at least subscribe at least more than 1,000 members by the end of this month. Please share. It's free of charge. You can just subscribe. If you don't like our content, you can just not subscribe as the time goes. But please for now support us by subscribing so that our channel will grow. So today I want to talk about what I'm still going through, chemotherapy. We call it chemo for to make it a short word, for us to understand and to get used to the fact that we are still getting this kind of medication. So chemo, yes. Let me talk about my experience first. To say that after I was diagnosed with cancer, the cancer that I had, so I had to get to chemo as quickly as possible, because I could see that our doctors were a little bit worried about the aggressiveness of the cancer. So, and then we started the chemo right away in a hospital. And then the other complication that complicated even matters was that my kidneys were so bad. I don't know the numbers, how they look like when the kidneys were bad, but my numbers were very, very low. My wife can't remember the numbers correctly, but I remember checking my numbers that were around 25 or so. When the doctor said it looks okay, but so which means they were very bad. So my kidneys were bad. They called the doctor that deals with the kidneys to come and help me flush out some toxin and to help my kidneys to get better. So, and then after I started chemo, I had to wait to come home for the kidney doctor to find and to see if things were improving. He even told me that we can even go to a method of dialysis if things are getting bad. So we discussed finances. I could see that that was very expensive as well. But putting the money aside, um, through God's grace, my kidneys were better. So, and then I was released from the hospital with the plan intact, that I'm going to the hospital every week to get my chemo. So that's once a week, every week, to go and get chemo from the hospital. And then I've got chemo tablets that I've got them here, and some antibiotics and blood thinners just to help things go. So that's the chemo side. So talking about chemo, then I cannot not talk about side effects. On the first month after I got chemo, as I said on a previous video, that I had a very bad cough. But I think that cough was because of the cancer, because nothing they could find that was wrong about that cough. So, and then it just fade away. So I don't know if that was a side effect from the chemo, or was it because of the carpet in the house. I don't know. So the other thing is that I couldn't lie flat in my bed. It was so bad that I needed something to tilt me. In a hospital, they made it easy because you just sleep a little bit higher. So you don't think that when you go home, you're going to be laying in a flat bed. So I couldn't lie flat. It was so bad. The pain in my back and my joints. Yeah, as I said in the previous video, that I couldn't even walk in the first month of starting chemo. And so the first month was the other side effect I could see, except that I couldn't walk properly, and I couldn't, like I even bought a stick to help me stand up from the couch, just to stand up and go to the toilet or go to the shower, and I could get into the shower with the stick so that I couldn't fall down. So that was, I think, was a side effect of starting the chemo, but I was already poorly before I started medication. So it's hard for me to say that was still because of chemo, or was it because the cancer was really aggressive, was just trying to take me out. So I don't know. So that's the first part. And then the cough stayed about 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. It's about 2 weeks that I can remember. Maybe my wife will say something otherwise, but I think it was 2 weeks that I could remember. And remember, I had kidney problems, so which means I had pain in my back. So the doctor put the patch, pain patch on my back, just to keep me, okay. And that was that month. That was that month. I had a lot of things going on in that month. So, but what I could notice, the very side effect that I could notice that was really coming from chemo, was the change of taste. How the food was tasting so bad, very metallic. No taste in some other food at all. Some other food tasted differently. Even the fruits that I used to eat were really tasting very differently. And so the taste was like gone. I couldn't. But anyway, I had to focus on eating well. So soups were better. I could eat a soup without any problem. The breakfast, I could just swallow it because I needed it. I couldn't say that I enjoyed it. So, and then that was the first side effect I could notice. And then the second one was the what we call, let me check the word of this. It's just like pimples that are growing in the rash. They call it the rash. Yes, I had a rash. I had a rash on my neck. I think now it's gone. You can. It was. I had a rash all over my neck. This is the spot of doing the chemo. But I had the rash all over my neck, and the rash was going. It's some little bit of rash in my legs. So it wasn't too bad though. But my skin was cracking on my legs. The skin started to crack. But the rash was just going all over. It was like a very bad rash. But that again stayed about a month. It was 3 weeks of the rash, and my skin was like bad in my legs. I still can see the spots of where the skin is bad. So that was the first month. The side effects were not good. The other thing that I'm forgetting, because of the chemo, the day of the chemo was seriously not a good day for me, because I could get chemo and the steroids on that day. So my energy would shoot up, and then I couldn't sleep well. Sleep was not. So I could measure my sleep to see if I slept 3 hours or how many hours, so that I can catch up during the day or something. So now, as I get used to this routine to go to the hospital to get chemo, and then come back home and start to see how things are going and dealing with eating. And the good thing, I wasn't vomiting, so which was very good. I wasn't vomiting. I didn't have a nausea. It happened just a little bit, but it wasn't something I can go home and complain about. So that's the first month of the chemo. And then I had to start to think about getting moving, because I couldn't move, as I told, that I even had a stick that I was using to stand up, sit down, and do all sorts of things. So which means I was always lying flat on a couch. I couldn't use the bed, at all. So in a second month, not even in a second month, in the same month, I started to do some few steps. Take my stick, take my mask, put my mask on, and start to do a little bit of moving. The only thing I'm still grateful about is that I could still go to the shower and shower, which I'm still happy about. Otherwise, that I wouldn't have any any movement at all if shower was a problem as well. So anyway, I would take my stick, go for a short walk. I started walking about 100 yards, um, and then as the time goes, I did a little bit of like 200, 300 meters, and then up until I managed to walk a kilometer. I remember one of our friends who visited me during that time. I said to him, I just walked a kilometer. I was very excited. He just said to me, hey, don't take it too much, okay? Just be careful. But to be honest, in my heart, I was happy that I managed to walk a kilometer that day. So, and then things started to improve. The following month, I don't know what happened. Things just changed to become better. My blood tests were showing good progress. They were not there good yet, but everything started to show a little bit of progress. The rash faded away. Um, my walk started to be a little bit easier. My walks were not very nice, but they started to be a bit tolerable, if I am using the right English word. So I would walk and then come back and just breathe in and breathe out and just enjoy shower. And and then food started to taste better, and I was starting to get hungry because of the steroids. To be honest, what will happen on the steroids day? We're coming from far. So what will happen on the steroid day? I would just go have chemo, and I will be so hungry when we come home. Then we'll stop at one of the petrol stations, and then I will buy everything that I was fancying eating, and I was eating a lot. I was eating a lot. My smoothies, I was swallowing smoothies, like I was making smoothies with all kind of fruits, all kinds of salads, veggies. I didn't mind. Once the taste came back, I was eating like I don't know. I was so hungry most of the time, to be honest. I blame that to steroids. So and then the chemo was supposed to take about 4 to 6 months, I think. Um, as far as I can remember, yes, it was supposed to take 4 to 6 months, like 6 cycles, 4 or 6 cycles. Cycle is a period of a month, like they check after a month to see how things are going. Like I'm going every a week, so once a week, four times a month, and then another cycle, just like that. So we ended up doing about before 8 cycles, and then after that they just schedule another bone marrow to see how things are going. So and then that was the first better news I've had. After that bone marrow, and we find out that chemo worked. The chemo worked, and the doctor just called and said they could not see any. There's zero. I don't know how she worded it now. There was, nothing to be seen in my bone marrow. She used the word that I forgot the word. I'll remember as doing the videos. But it was good to hear. I didn't know what it meant then, but I was happy that there was no percentages they could see on my bone marrow about cancer, which means chemo worked. Whatever the doctor was doing worked. So and then I'll talk about in the next video about transplant, and then I'll put a little bit of videos of my transplant. I hope I told my doctor that I was going to record it, and they allowed me to record it. So I'll put it on for you. I'll try and not show their faces. I'm sure they're not going to be happy with me putting their faces on online, but they were happy. I told them that I was going to record them, and then just to keep the memory of what the transplant look like. So I'll deal with that in the next video, and then I'll put some pictures. I don't know how. I'll have to figure this thing out. Put some pictures in. But today I wanted to focus on chemotherapy. I know and I've heard and I've seen some other people that are really struggling. The chemo just go hard on them, um, and then it's not always a good feeling when you know that it's your week for chemo or it's your day for chemo. It's not always nice. I remember the first few weeks after I started chemo, it wasn't enjoyable to go on that day to go for chemo. I was always worried about something will go wrong. And to be honest, my blood vessels were not happy. All my veins were we work hard just to find one vein that was working during the chemo day. So which was one of the not a good situations to be. And again, my BP my my BP would skyrocket when I'm doing I'm checked for chemo. I think it's because I was worried for chemo too. It's because of we were walking, from the car park to the hospital. Yes, of course, my BP didn't look good. But anyway, the good thing, the nurse is so patient. She'll wait for a few minutes and then she'll check again, and just to see that things will really get better. So my blood pressure was just sometimes not playing ball. But other than that, chemo in the first month was really not easy for me. It was tough. But put your mind in it, work hard on it, and then it's sometimes the body knows what to do if you see the things get better as the time goes. So now, after we finish the transplant and everything else, now I'm on a chemo that the doctor calls it a consolidation chemo. So I'm no longer doing the infusions. I'm doing the injections. They're doing the jabs on my tummy to do that chemo. I don't know. I don't know how to compare this. It's easy because it's injection. But with the effect, I think the one that was put on the on my vein, on my veins, I think that one worked a little bit. I think because I was used to it, it looked like I was getting used to it and it worked better. With the injection one, I can't feel a thing. But I can see that it's working because I'm still feeling good. My health is still okay, so which means it's still working. Over the period of Christmas, during Christmas holidays, I didn't do any chemo. I still carry on with medication as being told. As I said, that I'm going to make a video about being diabetic and the steroids, and I'll put that video together so that people will know that sometimes it depends on who we are, but sometimes steroids and eating and whatnot can lead to being diabetic. So I will deal with that in a separate video to explain how I ended up being diabetic. But other than that, we I just encourage people who are doing chemo that it's doable. You just need to hang in there, and that don't let your body to want you to sleep all the time. Try to put your hours of sleep, because the fact of the matter is, if you're doing chemo, you can't sleep anywhere. You can't sleep okay. If you catch those hours of sleep, like if it's 2 3 hours of sleep, that's good. And then the following day, try to put your rest in, like schedule your rests. For example, in the morning, do your shower, do your morning routines. Even if you don't have one, have a morning routine. Have a time that you'll go to shower, breakfast, medication. Or if you like me, what I'm doing medication. I'm doing breakfast, medication, shower, and then I'm feeling okay that day, I'm a little bit happy, I will just do a little bit of chores like wash the dishes or something, and then schedule my rest, like go back and sit down and just relax and watch a little bit of junk TV. Well, I like to read as well, and then I'll read a lot. I read a book about being diabetic. Read the book of cooking books. Can you imagine? I even read cooking books so that I can know what I'm going to cook, if I what I want to eat, and all those kind of things, and watch cooking stuff and watch things that will help you. And then I had to watch lots of videos about cancer as well, which I was sad about because I couldn't really find South African videos that will talk to my experience. But anyway, it's all good. So chemo, you just need to make sure that you schedule your time wisely. As I said, have your morning routine, rest, lunch, medication if you do medication at lunchtime. I'm doing morning, lunch, and afternoon. And then have a little bit of activity. Don't sleep at that time. After 3, don't sleep. Just do a little bit of activities. Just play with something. Just do something that is creative for you and that can help your mind to be at ease. I know that during the chemo time is, stress that comes with chemo is huge, and then the medication that you need to remember, and all those kind of things. But try and just schedule some things, make it easy for yourself, and then maybe the family can chip in to help you there and there, especially about neat and cleanliness, because you need to be always in a clean environment. And then afternoon, just know that what time you're really going to lie down for sleep. For me, 7 o'clock was the time. 7 o'clock, even if my sleep don't come, but I'm there. I'm ready for anything. I'm ready to sleep, and then I'll listen to music, or listen to camping videos like the ones with the rain. I'll listen to the rain and the camping videos, and then I don't want anybody to talk at that time. I'll just listen to the thunderstorm and those kind of stuff, and then that could help me to sleep at least 2 to 3 hours. And then when I wake up during the night, I'll watch Mount Everest. I like climbing, so I'll watch Mount Everest, guys climbing. I'll watch all those kind of mountains in the Himalaya mountains that could help me to come down, and then maybe catch another 1 or 2 hours before the morning. But please, during chemo time, try and relax and try and get some sleep if you can. And then if you can't, schedule your time wisely every day. Schedule your time wisely every day. Chemo day, the only advice I will say, I'll advise you is just to relax, because I know it's a heavy medication that you're getting. So relax and take things easy. Just be kind to yourself. If you like myself, sometimes I would, after steroids, I'll talk a lot. So I was feeling sorry for my wife then. I'll be speaking like crazy. Or sometimes you just get quiet. I don't know. I don't know. Steroids has their own issues. And then sometimes I'll eat a lot. Sometimes I'll just get hungry even before I start a chemo. But just drink lots of water before you go for chemo, and have some water as well after chemo, and at least have some proper food before you go for chemo. If you go do that chemo that takes a long time, have your lunch box. Mine was not too long, so I could wait until I'll go for food and go buy some food. But have some lunch box and some things like that you can take it in as you take chemo. And you can speak to your nurse or speak to your team as well to ask if you can bring food. They will say yes, or and in my case they will make you some tea even in a hospital, to make a nice tea for you just to get through the hours of chemo. So yeah, that's about chemo on my side. Sorry, the video just became so long, but yeah, that's chemo. I'm just encouraging everybody to say you can do it. You can do chemo. You can hang in there, because you can. Once you started chemo, you know that you are on a way of recovery, and that's for sure. Thank you.